So for the rest of our presentation this evening, we're going to talk about who's related to whom. Banding started in 1995 in the state of Washington. And so because of that effort, now we have identities of common loons. It has been the single most important conservation measure applied to common loons in northeast Washington. Without identity for these birds, our research would just be haphazard and a lot of guesses. Fortunately, a number of these chicks that have been banded over the years have returned to northeast Washington. That is 16 out of 57. We've banded 57 chicks, as you can see, and 16 of those have returned to the northeastern part of the state, which is a high percentage. That is a minimal percentage because there have been some that have returned that we, of course, don't see. So that's very encouraging. Most other states that keep record and do research on their common loons don't have a number nearly that high. Their numbers are like 10 to 15% actually return. So good positive things are happening in the state of Washington about loons coming back to their native lake region. So who's related to whom? We're going to talk about 5 different loons that we've come to know. We tend to name them because of strange things they do or their band colors. It just seems to be a natural thing for us to remember names rather than numbers. All of these loons are given a number, but who knows what the number is on that band. So we tended to name them just like most humans do. They like to name things that they're familiar with. So the first one we're going to talk about this evening is green. And we'll go down to yellow, yellow, and then add Amelia and Cheers. This is a map that shows some of the movements of these birds, these 4 different birds that we'll talk about. You can see here they went to different directions. Amelia was hatched at Swan Lake and moved up to Bonaparte Lake to become the territorial female in 2015. And you can see Nomad here, yellow, yellow, green, and Cheers, and we'll talk about each and every one of them and examine their movements. The first one we'll talk about is green. This was a chick that hatched at Swan Lake in 2004. And Swan Lake is at the end of this green arrow that comes down right to there. And she was hatched in the year 2004 and then became the territorial female at Beaver Lake in the year 2012. So what did she do in those 8 intervening years before she actually became a territorial female? She flew around. We saw her at different locations like a lot of these young loons do. They're learning the lay of the land. For the first 3 years, they typically have been over in the Pacific Ocean area before they came back to their natal lake region. It takes them about 3 years to gain their full plumage as adults. So we'll take a look at green. This is green as she was hatched on the nest at Swan Lake in June of 2004. Just a little tiny chick there. And this is her enormous male father, Dagger, who has created quite a legend in the loon locales in this part of the state. So that's where little green had her start. This is her very first voyage off into Swan Lake, coming off the nest site, which you can see there in the background. So then she became the territorial female at Beaver Lake. This is an image taken on May 21 of 2017. She's on a nest platform there that was placed in the lake to encourage nesting there. These are some of the avian guards that we have put around the nest from time to time. These tend to blow down and we have to keep reinstalling them. This is to keep bald eagles from having such an easy access to the nest. And we've found over the years that this has been a tremendous help at a lot of the places that have been very subject to bald eagles chasing the adults off the nest. So here she is incubating 2 eggs on the platform at Beaver Lake in the year 2017. We know that it's green because we banded her back at Swan Lake just about 6 or 7 weeks after she hatched as a chick. She was so small at the time that we could only put 1 band on each of her legs, and so we chose a green band on her right leg. And we had the aluminum band that's on her left leg there is U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service identification band. That's an aluminum band that has a unique number stamped onto it. And those records are kept by us and also by USFWF. Shortly after Green was banded, we also banded her father, Dagger. And here I am putting Dagger back into the water after we banded it. Dagger is a legendary male. He's got the name Dagger because while we were banding here this night, we put him in this very substantial cardboard box, about a half-inch thick cardboard. We knew for sure nothing could get out of that box. He got out of that box. He just blew out one of the corners with his bill and crawled out. He was flopping around on the shoreline, and we had to go capture him. So from that moment on, we called him Dagger. The next one we'll talk about, and banded there. And Lee Johnson had an effort with us that night. Thanks for your help that night, Lee. Long ago, thank you very much. So that's where Yellow got her start. And from there, we saw her at Northwood Lake in 2009.
Patty might have been there too.
So Patty, you might have been at that lake that night also. I don't know if you recall that or not, but that's what happened at Bonaparte on that evening. So here we see Yellow. You can see the bands on the right leg there. The left legs carry a geolocator. So on the aluminum band on the left leg, there's a geolocator to be able to follow the movements of this territorial female gal at Northwood Lake. There you can see the two bands. Next we'll talk about Nomad. Nomad was hatched at Lost Lake in the year 2007. It then visited Beth and Beaver a number of times before finally becoming a territorial male way down here at Long Lake in 2013. And he's been a territorial male there since. Here he is with an image. He's bringing the fish in to the family. This was taken last year, or the last season. This is Nomad at the end of the season at Long Lake. This is what loons start to look like. They start to lose their checkered feathers, and they start to make these changes, as you can see here, to their basic plumage in the winter.
Go back to the other.
Every now and then I have something I might want to talk about.
Every now and then?
Often. Nomad, I think what's really significant about this image is this is a young chick. It's probably 2 days old. And this lake has cutthroat. It does not really have any fry. And we've had a really hard time convincing Fish and Wildlife that not only do fishermen need fish, but loon chicks can't eat catchables or larger fish. And there needs to be some consideration for small fry on lakes for, it's Fish and Wildlife, right? So for wildlife, where are they? Anyway, this is a good example because this is about the smallest size fish that's on this lake right now for a loon chick to eat. And that chick will not be able to eat fish until it's probably 3 weeks. And
Fish that size.
Fish that size. You can eat smaller ones. So they have to augment with other invertebrates. But if these chicks don't gain enough weight in the summer, when they go to the winter territory, the emaciation syndrome is extremely high in first-year chicks. And unless they can get enough prey and foraging in the summer, a lot of our chicks won't return.